I didn't realize Alpha Donuts closed until one day in July. I was walking by and my heart sort of stopped. The iconic yellow and red sign was gone, the windows had realtor signs in them, and the whole interior was gutted. I've lived in Sunnyside, Queens for almost 7 years out of the 11 I've been in New York City. It's almost like a small town in a big city. Alpha Donuts is one of the places that epitomizes the neighborhood in a way. It's old school, warm, and down to earth. I Google it when I get home. Apparently, they'd never caught up with the pandemic. And one day in June, that was that. A cabbie interviewed on local news says it's especially sad for the elderly people who relied on the low prices and sense of community the diner gave them.
Spoke to about 10 of them. They are brokenhearted. This was their hangout to come and eat and meet the people. They came here. Mike, Adrian, all these people came here every day.
I wonder where these people are now. Did they shift over to the Paris Baguette on 46th Street? Or all the way down to Pete's Grill on 39th? And what about the woman, the owner who was always at the counter? Where's she now? I start asking around the neighborhood.
I'm doing a story about Alpha Donuts. Somebody at one of the delis told me I should talk to you. I'm trying to find people who were regulars there and went there a lot. So
I even put up flyers that say, "Did you love Alpha Donuts?" But I can't seem to find anyone. Sunnyside suddenly seems very big. Instead, I decide to see if I can interview the owners of places where I am a regular. I start with Filomena's Pizza on Queens Boulevard at 40th. This is some of the best pizza in New York. The Sicilian slice makes me want to cry, it's so good. And I love how passionate the owner Dave is about pizza and Sunnyside.
I've been in this neighborhood for 25 years, so that's why I really enjoy making pizza for people. It's really special to be a part of the community.
how do you think Sunnyside is changing?
The old style is kind of dwindling down. Like we were talking about Alpha Donuts. It's been there for years and years and years. And I think everyone has a story or two about Alpha Donuts in their lifetime if they've lived in Sunnyside. I do TikTok, and I go live on TikTok, and every time I pass Alpha Donuts and there's a person who had moved away and that sees that Alpha Donuts is gone, like, wow, Alpha Donuts is gone? I used to be there forever. What happened? And I have no clue what happened. Nothing lasts forever, but I love that Alpha Donut, that layout, that old style, like, diner layout. And I remember sitting there and eating there like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
I explained to Dave how I'd hoped to include the owner in my tribute to Alpha Donuts, but haven't been able to get in touch.
I'd imagine, if I were to sell a place, like if I had sold this place, I'd probably never come even close to it after that. I don't think I had the connection, especially with the connection that she has to that place. It's so hurtful. She would probably, it would be so painful for her to visit that she probably couldn't come close to it. That's my guess.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
Later, I go to Souk El Chater on the boulevard at 43rd. This is a small Lebanese takeout and grocery spot, and it's probably the place I eat at the most in Sunnyside. At one point during the pandemic, it was almost every day.
Meatballs and vegetables, rice, lentils, and fried onions, and the eggplant, chickpeas, peppers, onions, tomato.
Mohammed joined his father working here 7 years ago, and he's always a welcoming presence.
And it's as if you're going into your mom's kitchen kind of to eat. It's crazy how many people's orders I have memorized, and it's very specific. And you see familiar faces. And for example, my nickname in Arabic is Hamoudi. And it's cool when somebody that just comes in non-Lebanese or non-Arab, hey, Hamoudi. I pride myself on the service I provide people and the friendships I make. And it's great. So it's not, you're not just coming in to eat, you're coming in, hopefully what feels like family kind of, That's the vibe I hope we give off here.
Can you talk a little bit about how Sunnyside has changed since you were a kid and how it's changing now?
Living here has gotten more expensive. Rents are, insanely out of control right now. And you need a much higher income to get by these days.
I know rent was a factor in Alpha Donuts closing.
And yeah, I think that place was very dear to many people. And yeah, if local establishments are important, they make the neighborhood what it is.
Eventually, someone does respond to my flyer. Matt. He texts me telling me he loved Alpha Donuts. He and his fiancée even had their engagement photos taken there. He's a musician and tells me I'll recognize him by his long hair. I'm nervous to meet him somewhere quiet for the interview. I have no idea who this person is. So we agree to meet outside Alpha Donuts.
I'm gonna put my headphones on and...
Just out of interest, has anyone else responded yet?
No.
Okay, right.
Like me, Matt is not from Sunnyside originally. As you can tell from his accent, he's from the United Kingdom. But he's been in New York for a long time, also over a decade, and he loves Sunnyside the way I do.
As someone whose work consists of being up very late at night, I'm very open to places that you can get food after a certain hour. So Alpha Donuts never seem to be closed. Yeah, particularly at 4 o'clock in the morning, you'd walk in and more often than not there'll be several taxi drivers who were just taking a break who would be asleep face down on the counter, and quite often one of the gentlemen working there would be kind of standing there leaning up against something with their eyes shut. Yeah, cities change all the time and businesses come and go, but Alpha Donuts have been there for such a long time, and like it did exactly what you wanted it to do. And now that it's gone, it's like, you know, it's like your favourite couch it just finally broke, you know, like the stuffing came out of it or the springs went and you had to throw it out, but like that couch may have been kind of on its way out for a long time, or like you didn't always want to sit on it, but you knew it was there. Once places like that are gone, you know, you're never going to have that again. Losing anything in life, there was that profound feeling of, I don't know, me and my friends who loved Alpha Donuts all grieved for it when it was gone, and we just couldn't quite believe it.
What Matt says resonates with me. I wasn't actually a regular at Alpha Donuts, but I walked past it almost every day, and I often paused. I paused to admire the rows of jelly donuts, the S-shaped counter, the handwritten list and prices, donuts, coffee, soup. If it was dark outside, on the way back from some errand or the subway, I'd see a very specific yellow sort of glow that the shop emitted. I loved it. It looked like a photograph. As I'm working on this story, my adopted grandpa passes away. We had a special bond. I called him every Sunday and visited him as much as I could once I moved. When I did visit, I'd always feel afraid that it'd be the last time I'd see him. But he just kept going. He survived cancer, COVID, his wife, and one of his daughters. I started to think he would never die. And I can't quite take it in, even though I know, at 94, he was ready. He was someone who anchored me in a way. He made me feel like my life has meaning when I sometimes struggle to feel like it does. And very simply, it's hard to lose people you love. On the drive up north for the funeral, I go through old voicemails.
Hi, Claire. This is Grandpa McDonald. It's after 8 o'clock. I was wondering if you were all right. I'll catch you again.
The funeral is in a small church just out of my hometown of Canton. There are bagpipes. It's beautiful. And as the hearse drives away, a flock of geese flies over.
Pretty appropriate.
My grandpa would have loved Alpha Donuts. It's similar to the Cascade Inn, the diner he used to go to by the river for the Friday fish fry. That's closed now too. During the pandemic, I began to feel more and more that Sunnyside is my home. And it was really the consistency in the places I would frequent that made it feel that way. Grabbing a slice and having the credit card minimum waived, or Mohammed's father checking on me one day when he thought I was sad, and giving me a free spinach hand pie. There's something beautiful about how many interactions one can have in a city with people for years. People you don't really know, but rely on in some way. And it's poignant and sad when these people and the places that make sense for these interactions to happen disappear. But at least for now, I can acknowledge all the mom and pop shops and community establishments throughout the city and beyond that knowingly or unknowingly provide substitute family for those of us missing our own. I'm Claire Kinnan, and I created this audio essay in the fall 2023 Audio Narratives class in Hunter College's Integrated Media Arts graduate program. Thank you to class instructor Mitra Kaboli and my classmates for their input and support, and a special thank you to the participants Deva Kachella, Mohammed Osman, and Matt Tong, as well as the community of Sunnyside. Thank you to the Queen's Post for the use of the archival clip. The music is George's Lament by Go By Ocean and Ryan McCaffrey, courtesy of the YouTube Audio Library. This piece is dedicated to and in memory of my adopted grandpa, Dale Burton McDonald.